In this demonstration of a participant in a diploma program I was running in Melbourne, the client has very generously allowed us to share her experience and to learn with her about how she was able to make some really delightful changes to her experience and resolve her difficulty. She was calling her experience anxiety, and in the solution-oriented approach, instead of trying to work out a treatment plan for anxiety, we're more likely to be curious about what's happening for this particular person. What are they like? What are they good at? What's happening for them when their life is functioning well? And to look within that area for resources that might usefully be seconded to brought over into the non-functioning part of their life. And so in this relatively short interview, the client was able to make significant inroads into her dilemma, and in a follow-up session, which is the second part of this DVD, even just the next day, there were very noticeable changes in her experience. And those changes have persisted and have been extended in the 2 or 3 years since that experience. And it's a pleasure to see the way that such a simple, however respectful conversation with someone can, in the right mood and with the right willingness in the client, allow for such a change to happen in such a smooth and delightful way, and one which is persisting and extending. Thank you for being willing to have a conversation, Cindy.
Yeah, you're most welcome.
And is it okay to videotape this for future teaching?
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you for that too. So we've got the formalities over. What can we speak about that would be helpful to you today?
I'd like to talk about my worry.
You worry?
Yeah, I worry a lot about my family members.
Are they important to you?
Yeah, extremely important. And yeah, I worry. I don't know whether it was unnecessary worry. Like whenever I was told that they're going on trips, like I know my sister and her family, they're going on a cruise this Friday, and my brother is also going for a trip to Malaysia. Like I think leaving on Thursday, and I worry for their safety.
What are you worried might happen? They might die, or
I worry that something might happen. Like especially lately, there's so much news about terrorism and
something might happen.
Yeah, I would worry until when they arrive home safely. Just like when my mother went to China, for a week, I worry about, her safety. What will happen while she's away.
Now, when they do arrive, do they let you know? Do they?
Oh, I usually would make sure I know, so I would call home and.
Oh, you ask them?
Yeah, I would.
And when they arrive home, you ring and you hear that they're home. What happens?
Yeah, the relief.
How do you feel?
I
relief?
feel so relieved. Yeah.
Okay, so tell me about that. When you feel the relief, how do you feel that? What is it that you? Yeah,
I feel my body very light. Like right now, I'm feeling my body so heavy because of because of their upcoming trips, and I feel the sense of heaviness. And I know that once their trips are over and they arrive home safely, I know I'll feel immediate lightness in the body.
Okay, yeah. I'm just trying to think of anyone who has had a feeling of lightness and relief at the thought of the possibility of losing some member of their family.
Yeah.
Or any person that's important. Yeah. Your family are important to you. Yeah. You care about them. Yeah. You don't want them to die just yet.
Yeah. I'm always thinking about death every night.
Yeah.
I've always prayed. I mean, it's interesting. I never pray about me leaving, but I always pray about like my mom. She's already 60 years old. you know,
60?
Yeah.
Oh, that's old.
Yeah, knowing that, oh, maybe her time is going to be up soon, and I pray every night about I pray every night about that's the safety of my family, especially when with the latest news about Bali bombing, you know, things happen, you know, which is really awful. And
well, things do happen.
Yeah, the more I get anxious and worry.
Yeah. Well, but the worry is, the anxiety is a natural response. It would be strange if you cared for your mother as much as you do and you didn't have some trepidation, some concern. You're concerned about her safety, are you not?
Yeah.
And you're concerned about your own, what?
I'm not really concerned about my own, but more about my family members.
Okay.
And sometimes I know it can be non-constructive or disruptive to my life, because you know I like to do a lot of stuff, you know, but I worry about being away. Like, you know, I really would like to go London or go US and do some more training or whatever, or even come back here to do complete my doctorate and all that. But you know, like the thought of being away from them, and you know, like what if I'm like this year, I mean, thank God nothing happened. What if something happened while I'm here? I mean, I would live with regret, not for missing out on this last 1 year with them, the time lost with them. So it can become destructive in that sense, that I worry that, you know, I would regret not spending enough time with my family members.
Yeah. What could we do here? What would you like to do here that would be useful? Because you and I can't prevent terrorism. You and I cannot guarantee your family's continuing life and health. Neither you nor I can guarantee that. What could we do here that would be helpful to you?
Yeah, that I can feel that sense of, you know, I can feel it's okay, you know, I don't have to worry, they're fine and they're safe, and you
but
know.
They may not be.
Yeah.
They may not be.
Yeah.
We can't guarantee that. Neither you nor I can guarantee that they will be fine.
Yeah. And I worry about, you know, that I can't cope when one day my mom die, or something happen, or you know, some crisis happen in the family, or somebody has an accident or whatever. I worry, and you know, I somehow feel that I don't think I can cope. You know, if something were to happen, like I feel so strong. Like every night when I watch the news about the Bali bombing, I cried for them, because I knew when I was watching the news that how the family members would have felt. I knew exactly how I would have felt. I would have been devastated. I don't know, you know, like it's just too much.
Yeah. Well, it is too much. It is. And to see that and to be sensitive like you are to the suffering and to the loss and to the pain, to the anguish, to the overwhelmingness of it, it's too much for anyone to cope with. How do you manage to cope with seeing what you see on the news? How do you survive that?
Yeah, I knew I was crying every time when I watched even the latest, you know, the children got killed, you know, in Italy and all that. You know, I just wept for the family members, you know, I cried, but somehow I felt, I don't know, it felt better after I cried, but...
Felt better after you cried?
Yeah,
so it felt,
I don't know.
Is it like it doesn't feel that you can cope and then you cry and then somehow you feel better? Is that how you cope? Is crying one way that you do cope?
Yeah, I would think so, one of the ways, yeah.
One of the ways. So one of the ways of coping with something that seems totally overwhelming is to cry for you. Is to feel that upset, to feel the sadness, and feel the reality of the loss, and then somehow that makes it easier or makes it bearable.
Yeah, I think make it somehow bearable, and you know, bearable and able to cope, you know.
Yeah. Well, how do you cope with other things? I mean, you cope with that awful tragedy, children dying, people dying in Bali, the children in Italy, and all of these tragedies that happen. And you do cope with those, even though they're very difficult. You do cope with them by feeling the emotion, being sad, being upset, and then maybe feeling some relief.
Yeah.
Okay. So how have you coped with other things that have happened to you, other losses or uncertainties that have happened to you in the past?
Yeah, when I remember when my grandfather died, I fainted.
You fainted?
Yeah. And when my father died, yeah, I had even till now, he passed away 3 years ago. I still coping, like.
What do you mean coping? Do you still feel sad?
Yeah, there are times I just broke down.
Is that okay? I know an Asian girl shouldn't have emotions, but...
Gosh, every time I'm crying when I'm here.
Is that okay? I'm not saying it should be, I'm just asking, because I don't know whether it's okay or not. From my point of view, it's perfectly okay. When my father died, a couple of years after he died, I saw a film, an Irish film called Da, which is just like a short version of Dad. And I got on very well with my father, and when I saw this film, Da, I saw it with Jerry. We went over and had coffee afterwards, and my coffee was very salty. There were a lot of tears in it. I wept buckets. And I could, if I think about my father now, he's been dead for 22 years. I can get upset. For me, I think it's perfectly okay to feel sad about someone who's not there, someone who's important to you. Now, when you don't go around crying all the time about your father, you're not sort of weeping and wailing the whole time, and you're not missing him the whole time, what are you doing when that loss is there, but somehow is more in the background, and when you're doing other things? Because you like to do things.
Yeah.
You like to do a lot of things. How do you get your attention on doing the things so that the awareness of your father is less prominent, when it's sort of more in the background?
Yeah, I mean, there are only times that I remember and I broke down and cried. Other times I was okay, I just, like you said, he's always been in the background and not really, disturbing me or whatever. And it's just that, the thought of, it's, and, I have problem coping with deaths, and
coping with death? Most of us do.
I just...
Woody Allen said that it's not death so much, it's dying that worries him. And even dying is not a problem as long as he's not there at the time. So I think death is an issue for most of us. Most of us are not that, like, I think I'm dying, isn't that great? How excellent. Most of us don't have that attitude. But your grandfather died, and your father died, and you can get upset about that and you can cry about that, but most of the time you're getting on with your life and things are okay.
But now I'm thinking about my mother's death, like, how am I going to cope?
So if you think about your father or your mother's death or your grandfather, thinking about them is upsetting?
Yeah, especially when I think about my mother's death.
Okay.
Like, oh gosh, she's already 60 and...
Well, it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, but I'm already started to worry.
Well, at least you're doing some of it now, so that when my mother died, she took 12 months to die. And so when she did die, it was such a relief that I didn't feel upset. Because I'd done the mourning, I'd done the grieving beforehand. So maybe you were doing something of that too. But it's only when you think about your mother that you get upset and you worry.
Yeah.
And you think about your father or your grandfather. What do you do? What are you thinking about when you're not thinking about your mother or your father or your grandfather? What are you doing?
If I'm not thinking about them, I'm thinking about myself, like... Yeah.
What, that you might die?
No, I never think about my own death.
Oh, you're not going to die?
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to live forever?
I just never think about my own death.
Okay.
But, yeah.
All right. So if you think about your mother's death or your father's death or your grandfather's death, then you get
I get this upset and this
worried.
heavy feeling. Yeah.
And if you think about yourself, you don't get upset.
No. I never, to begin with, I usually never think about my own death.
Oh, okay. So how is it then, if you wanted to be less worried about your mother, or less upset about your father or your grandfather, you know how to get upset. You just think about them, and that will get you upset.
Yeah.
So then, how would it be if you were to think about that less and yourself more? Would that be preferable to you?
You mean think more about my own death?
No, maybe even about your own life. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
yeah,
know.
definitely. I mean, you know, usually I think about them usually at night, I suppose. So during the day, yes, I think more for myself, you know. And
So what would you rather think about at night? If you weren't to think about them at night, what would you rather think about?
I'd rather think about, you know, that they are all right, you know, it's okay, you know, people died. That's, you know.
You'd rather think that?
Yeah, that, you know, I don't.
Is that what you're thinking during the day?
No, I never really think
Oh,
much
so
about
what are you thinking about during the day?
really about enjoying,
Ah,
you know,
okay.
myself.
So how would it be agreeable for you to think about those things at night too, or not? Would that be disrespectful? Do you think it's important that you?
Yeah, I feel the need every night to pray for their safety.
Okay.
And yeah.
Could you add my name onto that list? I wouldn't mind you praying for my safety.
Sure.
I'm not ready. I don't want to die just yet.
Yeah.
Not till we finish this program, anyhow. But so you don't want to not think about your mother. You don't want to forget about her. You want to remember her and pray for her. So how could you pray for her without getting worried?
Yeah, I was actually thinking yesterday night, I was thinking, oh gosh, all this worrying, all that might be cursing them, you know, might be driving them to their deaths earlier.
Okay.
I was thinking, oh, maybe I should stop all this and maybe I should just pray and have faith and trust, you know.
If you were to do that, how would you do that?
How could I
How could you pray to have trust? Would that be praying for what? For yourself to be able to trust?
Yeah, pray for my family's safety and trust, you know, in the Lord, that He would look after them. And
I heard a story. I'm reminded of it because of part of your background, but it was a story about a Chinese wedding. And a man comes and gives a gift to the bride and the bridegroom, and it's a scroll. And they undo the scroll, and it reads, "Grandfather dies, father dies, son dies." And the bride and groom said, "This is rather morbid. Wedding should be for celebration, not for..." And the man said, "No, this is perfection. We want the grandfather to die, and then the father, then the son. It's a tragedy, like in Italy, if the child dies before the father dies before the grandfather. Everyone's going to die. So let's at least have the wish that it happens in the right order." That may be too Oriental for you to pay attention to, though, I don't know. That Oriental wisdom you might be too Westernized to. Does that make sense, to think of grandfather, then father, then son?
it's logical.
Logical. It's logical, and it's also emotional. But in any case, during the day, you're not thinking about death.
Yeah, usually
You're thinking about life.
Yeah, unless I, you know, work with clients that, you know, talk about deaths, then usually it would affect me.
Good.
Yeah, otherwise,
I would hope so. Would you not prefer to have that? Clients talking about their death, or wouldn't you like to share their upset? Isn't that? Yeah. And at night now, instead of praying and like worrying that you might be cursing them or somehow worrying about their death, you're going to be praying for their safety and for you to have faith. When you think about doing that, what difference does that make to your emotions? How do you feel differently when you think about praying in that way?
I guess I feel more peaceful because
I guess faith, you know, I don't know whether I'm chicken out or whatever, or taking the easy way out or whatever, avoiding or escaping or whatever, but it just feel, yeah, relying on some mysterious power, God or whatever, and that, yeah, that I, you know, it's out of my hands, you know.
It is. It is out of your hands. You can't make your mother live longer or die sooner. You can't. That's not for you to say.
Yeah.
But somehow having that prayer gives you that relief. It starts to give you, for whatever reason, whether you're being chicken or avoiding or whatever, it feels better for you to know or admit that you're not in charge of your mother's living or dying. And just have faith that she will be safe and she will live, and until she dies. She'll die sometime, but not just yet. 60's too young.
Yeah.
Now, when you feel that sense of relief, is that the same relief that you feel when they get home, when you know that they're at home? Is that the same?
Oh, yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How do you feel that in your body? Where do you feel the relief?
Yeah, I think the chest, usually my chest would be very heavy and congested, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then...
And the relief you get?
Yeah, that...
Lightness here?
Yeah, lightness, and it's free, it's not so congested. Yeah.
It's freer? And freer what? Does it feel that you can move your shoulders more easily?
Yeah, yeah, I feel happier and more cheerful and lighter.
Okay. Now, no one can be expected to feel light and cheerful and happy in the presence of tragedy. Anyone's tragic death, like children or Bali or your father or your grandfather, or when your mother dies, you know, you can't be expected to be light and cheerful about that. But you can have that lightness and that freedom. You can have that now. You don't have to wait. You don't have to bring that on. So if you wanted to have more lightness, more freedom here, you've got the ability to pray for their safety and for faith to accept that. What else might be helpful for you so that you can have that light, free feeling instead of the worry, instead of the heavy, congested feeling?
I guess to, like they say, grasp the moment with them, you know, like, you know, not take them for granted, I suppose. Yeah.
You hinted at something about that before, about with your family, like when they're there, to really enjoy them.
Oh yeah.
How could you do that?
Yeah, usually I give priority to family time. We usually spend a lot of time together on weekends, Saturdays, you know, and I usually give that the priority. You know?
Yeah, that's the time, but how do you spend the time with them so that you can be really appreciative of them? I mean, you can spend time with someone, you can visit, and make spending time with them a priority, but there's a certain quality of time. How can you experience the most quality of time with your mother, with your family? How do you do that?
How do I do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we talk, and you know, we just enjoy the moments together, and you know, it's we don't do anything very elaborative. It's just enjoying the moments. Yeah.
You know how to enjoy the moment.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So how would it be if over the next while, like today and tomorrow, maybe even this evening, you enjoy the moment? And tonight you pray for your mother's safety and for your faith. And also, would you look and notice any time when you feel that sense of lightness and freedom here? Just put your attention on that.
Yeah.
Would that be agreeable?
Yeah, yeah.
Tell me, what sort of things do you like to do when you're not worrying? When you're not thinking, you're not looking in the death notice and the news, oh, is my mother on the death list, you know? When you're not doing that, what sort of things do you do?
Well, I enjoy greeneries, I go for walks, I enjoy space, I just enjoy walking, and you know.
Where do you walk?
Yeah, usually I go to Mary Creek or Yarra Bank Park, and like later on I'm going to botanical gardens. I love flowers and the greens and all that.
So when you go to the botanical gardens or along the Mary Creek, Mary Creek it is. Did you know that?
Oh yeah, you mentioned that.
Did I mention that? So when you, I won't talk about that anymore. When you're going through the gardens or along the creek, how do you enjoy the gardens and the creek rather than worrying about all of the plants that are dying, or the people that might have died there, or all the potential death that might happen to people?
I never thought about that. I just enjoy the moment, like focusing on what's going on now, the moment. Yeah. Okay. And it's really hard to think about death when you're associated, with so much beauty, the nature, the wonderment, like you mentioned. So it's really hard to think about death.
Okay. Well, now you're going to the botanical gardens this afternoon.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I wonder when you're walking around there, if you might find something. You can't pick flowers there. You can't break leaves off trees. It's not the thing. But you might find something there, a leaf that's just fallen, or something from the gardens that you can take, that you can have, and take home and put on your bedside table tonight. Or you might get a postcard of the botanical gardens, or you might take a photograph, or something to remind you of the gardens. And it may be that next time you're walking in nature along the Mary Creek, that you might find something there, a stone, blade of grass, dandelion, I don't know. Something that you could also take home and have put on your bedside table. And just be aware of that connection with nature just before you go to sleep. That be agreeable?
Yeah. Yep, so
You would?
Yeah.
And I really like your idea of making the most of the time when your family's there.
Yeah, because I'm so aware of their deaths, all the more I am aware I need to not to take them for granted.
There's nothing like a bit of death to give us an appreciation of life.
Yeah.
And it's nice for you too to know that you're not going to live forever. If you know that you're going to die sometime, not for a while yet, you put it off for a bit. But there's something about knowing that we are going to die that gives life a little bit more edge somehow. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know whether that makes sense to you. It does to me.
Oh yes, I think so. Yeah.
Now, you and I can't, in our conversation here, we can't prevent terrorism. We can't guarantee that your mother's going to live to 100. Can't guarantee any of that. But it sounds like you can have an influence over your experience so that you can worry less, be more in the moment, and appreciate your family while they're there. And it seems like that's what you're going to do. And feel that sense of freedom, that sense of space and lightness.
Yeah.
So what can you notice in yourself that's different now than when you came to sit in the chair?
Yeah, I think I'm smiling and I feel happy somehow. Yeah, I feel relief and more free and not so heavy. I mean, I was aware I felt heavy. You know? Yeah.
And would it be all right if from time to time you got upset about your father's death or your grandfather's death, or from time to time you got upset about your mother's death, even though she hasn't died? Would that be agreeable?
Yeah. Definitely, it's not difficult.
This is interesting that I'm talking about your mother's death and you're laughing. This is an interesting response. How come you can talk about your mother's death and laugh?
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. There's a shift in the mood there.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't mean that disrespectfully in any way. But Oh. Looks like you can cope with these things. Anything more that we should speak about, or is that a place to stop today?
That's all right. Yep.
Is there something more?
Oh, yeah, but it's all right. I can stop here.
I'm not asking you to stop. I'm asking you if that's the place to stop, or if there's something more, I'm happy to continue.
Something.
Something
yeah, I
else?
mean, in association with that,
Yeah.
you know, that I want to spend a lot of time with my family and all that. I find that I am, I'm not even thinking of marriage or meeting men to go out with and have my own life.
No.
Because I'm afraid that will take time away from my family.
Well, it would. It would.
And I don't know whether it's healthy.
I don't either. Some people will get married as a way of getting away from their family.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't need to do that. So at least when you marry, you'll know that you'll marry not to get away from your family. You'll marry to be with someone. How old are you?
Me, I guess.
No, I'm not going to. No. You have to tell me. I'm going to play those
34?
games. What?
34.
Oh, I would never have guessed that. I would have thought younger. 34. So, do you think you're beyond you're beyond a marriageable age yet? Are you too old to marry?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah? On the shelf, we
On
say.
the shelf, yeah.
Hey, too late? Okay. All right. What do you think your chances of being unmarried at the age of 40?
Yeah, possible. The way I'm going.
Yeah, this is Melbourne Cup Day, though. We have to put odds on this. What are the odds? Do you think it's likely that you'll be unmarried at the age of 40?
Yeah, 60%.
60%?
Yeah.
Well, I hope you'll allow me to have my opinion.
Yeah, sure.
It's different from that. I would say you're very marriageable.
Yeah, I think so too if I allow myself.
Yeah, well, what would that require?
I mean, it requires that it's okay, for me to be married and still, that I still have time for my family.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can be in Australia and have time for your family. So, a husband wouldn't take you that far away, I imagine, unless he was Australian. Yeah.
Yeah.
You thinking of marrying an Australian?
No.
Someone from Singapore? Someone close to home?
Yeah, I don't know. I really never thought of marriage.
You didn't?
I mean, I think I put it off my mind.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's good. I mean, it's good to put it off until you're ready. Some people start thinking about marriage when they're 13. And they put their life off because they want to spend their life about being married. So if you were to think of the possibility of being married, having a husband, having children, having a family of your own, and still having time for your mother and your family, how could that happen? How could you possibly have time for your own family and from your original family?
When we all stay together.
Yeah, can all live in the same house?
Yeah.
Okay, that would be interesting.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah.
Huh? Yeah, you have to get the right husband to do that.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, so you have to get someone who you can say, you live with me. Oh yes, okay. You need someone who's well trained, yeah? Is that the kind of husband you want?
Oh, definitely someone
Are Singapore men
listens to
better
me.
trained than Australian men? Most Australian men are not that keen to live with their mother-in-law.
Oh, yeah.
Think you could find someone?
I think it's possible, I suppose.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I hope not.
Hope not. Why is that so?
Well, I don't know. I just hope not. I think it would be not enough of a challenge for you to have a husband who is just He is too easily trainable.
Yeah, it wouldn't work.
No.
Yeah.
It wouldn't. It's appealing in a certain way. I know when I married Cherry, I thought that she was trainable, but she's not. Thank goodness. You know, the idea of someone being trainable is appealing, but it's boring. So, if you found someone that you wanted to spend the rest of your life with and have children with, and who wasn't trainable, who said, no, I'm not going to live with my mother-in-law, I'm not going to live with your mother, how could you find a way of living such that you could be in your marriage and in the family that you're creating, and at the same time see your mother and your brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I think it's possible because...
Think it's possible? How?
Yeah, because at the moment only I live with my mother. The rest all are married and they live outside, and we still meet on Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you could meet on Saturdays. How would that be?
But I guess I'm just being greedy. I want to be with my mother every day and not just Saturdays.
Well, what are you doing here?
Oh yeah.
What?
It's really hard.
Well, but yes, but if you were really greedy, you wouldn't be here. You'd be...
Yeah, that's true.
That is true. So you do want to be with your mother, and you want to do other things. It's okay to do that.
Yeah.
And is it working out? You've survived this year?
Oh yeah. Not just this year, the other year as well.
Oh really? 2 years? My goodness. So as long as your marriage doesn't last more than 2 years, you're already okay. You've got 2 years. You know how to stay away from your mother for 2 years. But if you're in Singapore, you could see her every Saturday. And maybe even other days too, do you think? Oh, I don't know. I don't know how you do that.
Yes, possible.
Possible? I know when my eldest son was in London, I didn't see him for 3.5 years.
That's a long time.
Long time. And at the same time, they didn't feel like there was any distance between us. Because I think the love that a child and a parent has for each other, it's not a matter of, you know, the more you see someone, the more you love them, or the closer you live, the more it's just there for me. It's just there. And I didn't love him any less, or I didn't feel any loss of love from him because he was in London, I was here. It didn't seem to make any difference really. That's just my experience. I don't know how that is for you.
Yeah. In a way, we talk more, my mother and I, you know, on the phone. Yeah. So
you can even be closer when you're further away. That's interesting.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
And maybe even appreciate her more. So how are the odds of getting married before 40 looking now? Are they down to 59%? You said 60% against, and 59?
Yeah, possible, 59.
59 and a half?
Yeah.
I think it'd be interesting if you tried to stay single. Interesting.
I have been for the last 5 years.
You've managed it for 5 years, but I don't know that you can manage it for too much longer. You might be able to. I don't think so. That's just my opinion. So what are you doing with that now? What's shifted in your conversation, in your experience about?
I feel really good to be able to get this off my chest.
Yeah. When you get it off your chest, there's more room. You can feel light and less congested. And it's always a concern to move away from home, to have some distance when you're as close as you are to your mother. That's always a concern. And I don't know whether it's more in an Asian culture. Is this a particularly an Asian concern, or do you think to be close to your mother, to be close to the family?
Possible.
I mean, my younger daughter is 22. She's in Europe at the moment. She was threatening to come home, and I said, I don't think you should. She said, well, I'm shifting in. I said, well, you're welcome to come for 2 weeks. So this might be just an Anglo thing, you know, like, you can't wait for the kids to get out.
Yeah.
And the two boys were saying, you know, when are you leaving home, you know?
Yeah, my mother could potentially, you know, feel the same.
Oh,
because I
she's
don't
wanting
think,
to get rid of you.
I don't know why she wants to get rid of me, but I don't think she's interested to live with the children, the married ones. I have 2 brothers and 1 sister. She's not interested to live with them. Yeah, so I don't know whether she really can't wait to get rid of me.
You don't know, but it might be okay for her and for you. It's not going to be a problem.
For me to stay away?
Yeah, well, to just let her go, you know. She'll be okay.
Yeah, she's very active. Yeah.
So you've got that off your chest.
Yeah, which is really good.
It's good. And you're feeling lighter about that?
Yeah. Initially, I thought that it would be a huge problem to talk about it, and I thought the time would extend to another hour you know, by talking about this.
Yeah.
But it doesn't.
Yeah,
feel so bad.
you're wanting to brush it off.
Yeah,
like,
because
oh,
I thought
don't talk about it today.
Yeah, I thought it would take another hour.
Oh, another hour, yeah, at least.
Yeah. Yeah, because this I have been having this for the last 5 years. You know.
Yeah. You've been trying not to get married for 5 years.
Yeah.
You've succeeded. Once you set your mind to something, you succeed. And you succeeded at not getting married.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it seemed that was the right thing to do, and it was. So once you decide it's the right thing to do to get married, well, watch out.
Yeah.
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 So is there anything more that we need to speak about that? Is that
Yeah,
enough?
that's enough.
Sure?
Yes.
Anything else?
No, I'm very happy to stop here.
Are you worried to continue? You think that there might be something else that...
No, I really feel good.
Feels good. Okay. Well, thank you for being willing to play.
Yeah, my pleasure.
And to share something so intimate as your own family, their life and their well-being, that's so important, and your own future life. It's trusting us to have this conversation. It's a gift that you've given us.
Thank you. Yeah.
And how are you feeling now when I say that? There's an emotion there?
Yeah.
Doesn't
That
look
is
sad.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it is. I think it is. Should we stop?
Yep.
Okay. So, thanks for being willing to have another conversation to follow up and see what's been doing.
Okay.
And is it okay to video this again?
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you. What's different since we spoke yesterday? It's only a short time, but I'm curious to notice what you've been able to be aware of.
I think there's a sense of peace. I feel...
Sense of peace?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel the peacefulness somehow.
Okay.
Yeah. And
somehow. You're not quite sure how?
Yeah, not sure how.
That's a relief.
Yeah, that's right. Because yesterday, you know, there was no worrying. I had my usual prayers, but I did not worry at all.
You didn't worry at all? Is that okay?
Yeah.
So you don't know how that's happened, but can you have some hint about what you've been doing differently so that you've been worrying less or not at all? What have you been doing instead of worrying?
Yeah, I guess I don't know how it happened really.
No.
After the session, and
you don't know how it happened, but it happened.
It happened, and the sense of lightness, and it just didn't worry yesterday night somehow.
Okay.
You know, perhaps I felt it had been taken care of. You know, that sense.
So you felt lighter. And you talked yesterday about a sense of freedom. Did you have some feeling of freedom also? And how did you feel in your body with that, with the lightness? You were mentioning...
Yeah, I think the congestion is gone, you know.
Congestion's
I don't
gone.
feel so congested in the heart, and I feel my head also is like lighter, you know, not so heavy. Yeah.
yeah, and somehow the whole sensation of yeah, just lightness, really.
Now, if you wanted that lightness to continue, if for some reason, whatever reason, you decided that you prefer to feel light rather than worry, to feel peaceful rather than congestion, if, for example, you decided that, how could you allow that to happen? How could you allow yourself to be lighter and peaceful?
I guess, you know, the assurance, you know, that, you know, you'll be taken care of, that, you know, there's nothing to worry, and things will be taken care of, that, you know, things that are not within my control.
Yeah.
You know, like I mentioned, believing in the faith.
So somehow...
And let it be, you know,
Okay.
that sensation of, yeah.
All right. And do you know how to do that?
Yeah, I don't know how it happened, but...
No, but you know how to have it continue.
Yeah, I think...
Because, you know, a habit can be worrying can be a habit, and so can feeling peaceful. Being worried about something catastrophic happening can be a habit, and having faith that things will be taken care of is also habitual. So it looks like you've started to develop that habit.
Yeah, yeah. Although I mean, at one point I was thinking, oh, shall I worry about not worrying, you know?
Should you?
And I thought, oh
no. That's a worry.
Yeah.
It is a worry. So how did you deal with the possibility of worrying about not worrying? How did you...
Yeah, I mean, immediately when the thought came to me, I found it so absurd. I found it, you know, so absurd to think about such, and just let it go, you know, and yeah.
So somehow then if some other worries come, it might be helpful for you to see how absurd they are and just let them go. Oh, that sounds pretty useful. Very useful. And you haven't made any marriage plans yet?
No.
No? You haven't set a date or anything?
Yeah.
You haven't found the right person yet?
No.
No. Okay. So how are you laughing about this? Is this
Yeah.
is something you're feeling light about?
Yeah, because right after my session with this morning, I had a session with Maggie, and that was good because, you know, because I brought up that marriage stuff, you know, and yeah, I mean, it has, well, in a way, opened a can of worms, I suppose, you know. And yeah, so, well, I had the chance to work with Maggie, and that was really good, you know. And,
what's different after speaking with Maggie?
Yeah, that it's okay. It's okay to talk about such, because I've been, you know, I had problem, you know, confronting it and dealing with it, and, you know, just push it to the back of my mind.
And now?
And I feel, yeah, it's good to be able to get it off my chest. I mean, I started with you and then continuing with Maggie, and that feels good. And,
and does it seem that what we started and what you had started and what you continue with Maggie, if you just let that continue, do you think is that going to be enough to take care of that? Not that you will guarantee, absolutely certain, that you'll be married within 3 weeks or something, or 3 years.
Oh, I wouldn't want to be married.
No. So, but does it feel that somehow there's some freedom now for you to have that as a possibility?
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's right?
That it can be a possibility. Yeah.
It's not a guarantee. Just like you can't guarantee that when one of your family goes on holiday, you can't guarantee that it's going to work out. And if you do marry someone, you can't guarantee that the marriage will last.
Yeah.
But you can't guarantee anything.
Yeah.
But there are some things that you can do that make it more likely, make it possible. Well, that sounds pretty nice.
Yeah.
And what else would be helpful to let that process just, how can I say, evolve naturally, without having to push it away or without having to force anything, just having faith that it'll be taken care of?
Yeah.
What else would be helpful for that?
I think, yeah, I guess for me is to just like when I talked to Maggie this morning about, you know, just let nature take its course, and, you know, let it be, and, you know, not think too much or think too hard about it, you know, just be adventurous in a way, you know, and see how things evolve, and you know, and open to possibilities and options, and yeah.
Well, if you were to do that, and time were to pass, and you get married, and you have a bunch of children, or 2 or 17, or however many you have, or whatever you have, and they grow up, and it just can we play along with this?
Yeah, sure.
Idea? That one of the children that you have is a daughter, and she comes to see you because she's 34, and she says, "Mum, I'm not sure about whether I'll ever get married or not." What do you say to her?
Oh, I'll say to her, these things you can't worry. You know, if it's meant to happen, it will happen.
And how does she, when you say that, does she believe you?
Yeah, she probably would.
Probably would.
Yeah.
Well, how could you say it? How would you know that she was believing you? How would you be saying that
Yeah.
it would be believable?
Yeah, because of my own experience, I suppose.
Ah.
Yeah.
And she says, "Mum, can you give me some hints? What did you find helpful? How did you find the right person?"
Oh, by not finding, you know, and just let it happen.
Ah, okay. And what's it like to be telling her this?
Yeah, you know, there's the sense of freedom, you know, by telling her that I'm, you know, I can free myself from, from searching, finding, or making things happen. You know, that it can happen without me working too hard on it, or without me getting anxious or stuff like that. Yeah.
I just had another thought. Just say this 34-year-old daughter of yours does meet someone, and she gets married. She has some children, and one of her children is a little girl. And
so that's my grandchild, right?
Your grandchild,
yeah.
Your granddaughter. And she's sitting on your knee one day, and she says, "Granny, are you going to die?" You know the way little kids say things? "Are you ever going to die, Granny?" What do you say?
Yeah, I would say, yeah, when my time is up, I will die.
Oh, okay. And she said, "Did your mum die?"
Yeah.
What do you say to this little girl?
Yeah, I would say, yeah, she did. She did after she had a beautiful life. She died. Yeah.
Right. And if your granddaughter said to you, "When your mum died, were you sad? Did you cry?"
Yeah.
Yeah?
I would say, yeah, I did.
And if she were to say to you, "Was that all right?" What would you say?
Yeah, I would say it's all right. Yeah.
I wonder how likely it is that you'll have that little girl sitting on your knee sometime.
How likely?
Is it very likely or very unlikely? What do you think?
It's possible. Not sure about likely, but it's in a way it's possible.
Yeah. Do you think it's vaguely possible?
Vaguely. No, it's possible.
Oh, so that's sort of 50-50?
Yeah.
Right. So you know that I'm going to disagree with you about that.
Yeah.
I think it's much more than 50-50.
Are you flirting with me?
I thought the way you were doing that with your eyebrows, you were flirting with me. It's always nice to flirt with you.
Yeah.
So, your granddaughter reminds you that you're okay, things are okay, and your mum was okay, and your daughter was okay. And so it looks like things at least have at least a 50-50 chance of working out. Certainly it's possible, which is nice.
Yeah.
Now, we didn't need to talk about your daughter or your granddaughter. We didn't need to do that. But I'm wondering if there's anything else that we could talk about that would be useful. Not that it's necessary. Or is that a place to stop, or what do you think?
Yeah, I'd like to stop here with the images of my daughter and my granddaughter.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
They're very pleasant images.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Rob.